Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about David Harbour. We're going to talk about Hellboy, and we're going to talk about the possibility of Black Widow coming to digital as Disney is hard up for cash.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rumors flying around about that. First, we're going to talk about David Harbour blaming the failure of Hellboy on Hellboy fans. Because always blaming the fans. That always...
Yeah, it's never because maybe the movie wasn't that good. It's always because of the fans.
Always blame the fans. So before we get into that, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Your support has meant a lot, especially this last month or so. Lets us keep bringing you content. And, you know, we can't go outside, so we'll just make videos, right?
That's what we'll do, yeah.
That's what we'll do. So, first we're going to talk about David Harbour having a little bit of a meltdown here. And he was doing an interview with, let's see, where was this? Screen Rant on Instagram. On Instagram, he talked about the fans. He said pretty much nobody liked the Hellboy reboot. And this is true. If you go out to Rotten Tomatoes, 17% critical score, 49% audience score.
Which is, you know, about the same as Cats.
Cats actually performed better than Hellboy. 20% critical score, 53% audience score. Have more people like it than Hellboy.
How many people review it too, by the looks of it too? I was like, what?
4,400 audience score, 208 reviews, 295 reviews for Cats, 6,000.
Cats had more reviewers too.
Yeah, so people like Cats better than Hellboy. Sorry, David Harbour. Now it's sad because the Hellboy movies were actually regarded as being pretty kick-ass comic book movies. Yeah, they were
pretty good, actually.
Second one especially is one of my favorite comic book movies, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. And it is sitting at 86% critical, 71% audience. And the thing is that the second one ended on a cliffhanger.
Yes.
People wanted a Hellboy 3. No, I wanted a Hellboy 3.
Sounds like, you know, what they did with Ghostbusters. Instead of just doing a third one, we're just going to reboot the whole damn thing. At least they didn't make it Hellwoman.
Hellgirl.
Heck
Girl. We'll go PG-13.
No, it'd be Hellgirl.
It'd
be Hellgirl because women are better.
That's the subtitle. Yeah. Hellgirl because women are better.
That's exactly what it would be.
Yeah, but you know, people, so they were already salty, and again, you're going to compare apples to apples. Like, literally, nobody wanted a Hellboy reboot, right? They wanted, if you were going to do another Hellboy, even if you cast David Harbour, I think they wanted a proper Hellboy 3.
That's what they could have done.
They could have done that. You could have, if you're like, okay, Ron Perlman's getting up there, let's bring in David Harbour. He looks good.
Yeah, I mean, they could have made it look more like the other movie and stuff too. It would have been easy enough to do.
Yeah, and just cast him for an actual Hellboy 3. Didn't do it. Poor decision. Paid for it at the box office. Paid for it with critical scores. David Harbour blames the fans. Don't do this, David Harbour, because I actually do like you somewhat when you're not rambling at the awards shows. But you know, don't do this. So David Harbour did his best. He wasn't half bad as the demon superhero. It wasn't enough to salvage the film. There are reports of behind-the-scenes problems, obviously involving the script, and that certainly played a part in the failure. But according to Harbour, the real culprit here are the fans.
So I'll always blame the fans. Stop blaming the fans. Wanna know why you keep failing, Hollywood? Because instead of, you know, owning up to, you know, oh, maybe we should have made some different decisions. We should have listened to the fans. It's always, no, it's the fans' fault.
So this is what David Harbour said. I think it failed before we began shooting because I think that people didn't want us to make the movie. Well, yeah, they wanted Hellboy 3.
Or they didn't want any movie at all. It's like Ghostbusters. It's like, why do we need another Ghostbusters? And if we're going to do it, do Ghostbusters 3. Why do we need another Hellboy? If we're going to do it, do Hellboy 3. Yeah,
for some reason, there was a big, like, Del Toro and Ron Perlman created this iconic thing that we thought could be reinvented. And then the loudness of the internet was like, we do not want you to touch this. And then we made a movie that I think is fun, and I think had its problems, but it was a fun movie. And then people were just very, very against it, and that's people's rights. But I learned my lesson in a lot of different ways.
Okay, this is like, okay, guys, this is like if you opened a business, and everybody kept saying that your business sucked and they didn't want to buy for your business, or they just didn't come to your business to shop. And your takeaway was, it's the customer's fault. So you open another business. And you try it again, and nobody comes to support your business. And then you're like, it's the customer's fault. It's like, it can't be the customer's fault. You're not giving the customer something they want. Whose fault is that? Not the customer's.
It's true. You know what would make bank, David Harbour, is if you did a Grouch movie.
Oh my God.
I would watch the hell out of a Grouch movie. That would make some money.
I don't know if Sesame Street would go along with that though.
I don't know. They're pretty hard up for cash too. Warner Brothers.
He was great at that though.
I would watch Grouch. I would. So
grouchy.
I'm grouchy. So hey, David, I'm a huge fan of the Del Toro films. I also spent my money at the box office for the turd film you were in. For the record, you did a good job. I liked your version of Hellboy just fine. The movie itself was garbage.
Yeah, it's not necessarily him that was the problem.
That happens sometimes. Sometimes there are bad movies with good actors.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, you know, those actors are actually the best part of the movie, but the rest of the movie was shit. And
yeah.
What are you going to do? It's like having a really good bite of food in amongst a bunch of like wilted lettuce. Maybe the chicken was really good, but the lettuce was wilted and gross.
Yeah, and it's just, it was gross. I'm thinking of like the Rose Tico situation. No one's saying that Kelly Marie Tran was a bad actress. They didn't say that. They just said that they didn't like Rose Tico. But then the spin was, you don't like Rose Tico and you think Kelly Marie, you're just racist because you don't like Kelly Marie Tran. And that's not the same thing.
No.
And I think that's what it is here. It's like, I didn't see the movie, so I don't know if he's good or not in it. But that's what people seem to say is that he was okay. It wasn't him. It was the shitty movie. Yeah,
and that's what this guy's saying. He's like, it was a B-rated movie. Don't blame the fans for this. It was so bad I was asking the screen why. Admittedly less than The Rise of Skywalker. Don't blame the existing fans, man. This is a film that failed to generate a true following on its own merits, and you need to evaluate and understand why the movie didn't succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I think what he's trying to say, and it's not coming out very well, and I know how that is because I tend to not speak as eloquently.
Yeah, let me assure you that is definitely the case.
Like I said that, but that's not actually what I meant.
Like when I said I looked tired and my allergies are bad in that picture, my eyes are puffy, and your comment was, sure, allergies.
Oh, sorry. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
He does it all the time. He says things he doesn't mean, and it doesn't usually end well for him.
I think what he's trying to say is they kind of had their work cut out for them because Hellboy 1 and 2 are regarded as being very good movies, right. And they have a rabid fan following, and people really want an actual Hellboy 3. And it had a lot of problems going into it. Well, that's what one person in the comments mentioned too. I saw that they were saying about with studios, and we've mentioned this many times before. They want to go for the sure thing. They don't want to take chances anymore, which is why we're not having fresh things. They don't want to take chances, so they go for existing IP with fan bases. And then instead of finding the people who understand what makes it go, they try to find some trendy person or somebody that knows somebody that's on Tumblr or something else, and they put them in charge of it. And then they do it their way. But their way isn't, and they're trying to make their mark, like, Rian Johnson or whatever. And their way doesn't necessarily mesh with the franchise. Right. So they're too busy trying to make it different so they stand out, and all they're doing is ruining it. If they just make a movie that fit the franchise and did it well, they'd be remembered so much more for that than trying to go their own way. Yeah, when you try to tap an existing fan base, the fans come with it. Whether or not you like it, the fans come with it. So you have to think about that. If you want to create something completely fresh and original, then by all means go do that. You want to create please do. You want to create a movie that evokes Hellboy, the Hellboy comics, but isn't a direct ripoff. I think people will be okay with that. But again, when people have been waiting for over a decade for a Hellboy 3, and this is what you give them. Yeah, it's pretty bad. They're not going to be happy. Yeah, and if you are going to make something new, don't call them Safe Space and Snowflake. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Marvel, finally. That's the thing. Marvel, years and years and years, never create any new characters. They get the opportunity to create some new characters, a whole new team, and they ruin it. They ruin it. Come on. But Hellboy, not as good as Cats, apparently. Not as good as Cats. So let's talk about something else. Hey, we're going to talk about Disneyland. No, we're going to talk about the rumors that Black Widow and Mulan might actually be coming to digital. And David Harbour is leading the charge on that. Well, we knew this was a rumor because we covered it before about the one person who worked on the posters for Black Widow, and they said that they actually were told to make some things up for screen captures and screenshots and things for be digital released. So we knew this was already a rumor going around. They said there was a couple actors in the movie pushing for it. David Harbour apparently is one of them. Yeah, so this just came out today, and he says he's calling on Marvel to release Black Widow online after the film's cinematic release was postponed due to that thing we can't talk about. It's among a number of big movies that have had their release dates postponed. There's currently no new release date set for Black Widow. and he plays Red Guardian in the movie. And yeah, wouldn't it be fun if we could all just stream it? But that's above my pay grade. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people are like, that's not going to happen because, you know, Mulan, they spent, $200 million in the movie, another $100 million on the marketing for it, and they have to remarket the movie when it eventually drops in theaters, and we don't know when that's going to be.
Well, I think it's a possibility. I'll tell you what. Well, first of all, yeah, Grace Randolph said, go ahead.
Yeah, Grace Randolph, movie critic, she said, I did some digging with all the chatter today. Apparently, Disney is considering releasing not just Black Widow, but also Mulan straight to streaming price points, purchase versus rental, when the Disney Plus, all up in the air, developing. They dropped Onward after it was in the theater for 2 weeks, but it was in the theater first.
Here's where I think they might do this. Because a lot of people are like, they won't do it because they'll want their $1 billion box office. Yes. However, Disney was closed down for the movies and for the parks for like 2 weeks, and they had to go borrow $7.3 billion from the debt market just from being shut down for a couple weeks. Disney, I don't think, can afford to sit on these movies and wait for them to be released longer than a couple months. If it's like a couple months, they might. If it goes longer, I think they'll release them because they have to get some money back. And people are like, well, they're going to want their $1 billion box office. Well, who's to say they can't get the release it on digital and then turn around and release it to theaters when theaters reopen?
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, would people go see it? But I'm like, my thing is like, I'm not going to spend, you know, $20, $30, $40 on a rental and then go watch it in the theater.
Well, a lot of people, but what they're saying is a lot of people just wait for the theater.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people said they just wait. So they would still get their money. They might not do it, but I can see why people would think they would, because they are up against it, and I think they're going to get more and more up against it as it goes. And if they could get some money by releasing Mulan and Black Widow digitally and then putting on the streaming service early, they're going to flip and do it, guys, because they're, you know, up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they have to beat the bushes for money, and honestly, you know, the movie theaters need Disney more than Disney needs movie theaters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the movie theaters are already said, you know, they're going to not forget what, you know, Universal did. They're not going to forget this, but like you said, the theaters need the studios more than the studios need the theaters right now.
Yeah, and it's going to become a matter of survival, and Disney at this point, they cannot afford to lose. I mean, Mulan and Black Widow were their two tentpole films for the spring, and they can't push them back another quarter or 2 quarters.
Well, they keep pushing it. It's going to overlap other things, and everything. It's going to be a mess. I can see them doing it. 1, to avoid the mess. 2, to get money back faster. 3, because the fans are asking for it, and they try to do it as a branch of goodwill to people. Yeah. If we lose a couple $100 million, but people are like, you know, go Disney for doing it and giving us, you know, a better we have a better perception of us after the shit we just pulled with the parks not being announced, the closure of the parks not being announced for 3 or 4 days, and not letting the cast members know what the hell was going on. They're going to do what they can for public perception.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, it depends on how desperate they get. If they do, we'll know exactly how bad Disney's financial situation is if they dare cross the movie exhibitors, the theater exhibitors, and go ahead and just release either one of these movies.
That's a good point. If they would do that, then yeah, I think that it's worse than they're letting on, because if they can hold out so they can open it in theaters, that's probably the way they'll want to go. I think that's, you know, the better way to go. But like you said, if they do release it early, that would probably be a mark that Disney's not doing as well as they want people to think they are. Yeah,
and everybody keeps saying this, and we were talking about it last night. Like, you don't understand, guys. They cannot afford to keep the parks down even for a week. And we saw they started borrowing money after a week, and we had...
It was like about a week and a half.
Yeah, and there were some people in the comments on that video like, Disney can afford to shut all the parks down for a year. They've got plenty of money. I'm
they
like,
cannot.
No.
I'm sorry. They
can't.
Cannot. I'm just, you know, I'm so tired of these pie-in-the-sky people. It's like, look, you know... Honesty and negativity are not the same things. Just because we are honest about Disney doesn't mean that we hate Disney. Just like if somebody, you know, there's like, the one person's like, well, it's because I shill all the time doesn't mean that I think they're above criticism. Well, you okay. It's just, the pie in the sky people, I don't know what to tell you.
They think Disney's immune to Mother Nature, acts of God, and all
they think Disney's immune to any criticism. Yeah. Well, like that what the Grace Randolph posted, people were flipping out and jumping down her throat. She said, "I'm hearing this could be a possibility. I'm not saying that they were doing it. I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm saying it's I'm saying that it is. They're considering it." Yeah. And people had a hissy, "Oh my God, shit that you won't believe. How dare you mess with my delusions?"
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Disney is the best. I don't want to hear it. La 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 la.
she's like, she looks like a stormtrooper or storm shadow or something. No, my thing is, yeah, again, if they would do this, that shows just how desperate Disney is.
I agree.
So this is going to be a good litmus test because they know the theater owners are not happy with Universal when they decide to release Trolls 2 direct to video because that was supposed to be a huge.
But how did it do though? Do we know?
I don't know. Did they release? They didn't release it yet. I think it comes out
released?
April sometime.
Okay, well that'll be interesting to see. We'll have to keep an eye on that because I want to see how it does when they release it directly.
Because this weekend would have been the opening for Mulan.
For Mulan, yes.
Yeah, would have been this weekend. And but then that one's kind of a unique situation because they're also banking on the Chinese box office.
They were banking on the Chinese box office heavily. For
Some might say they were pandering to the Chinese box office with that movie.
Well, the theaters are opening back up in China, but supposedly. But Disney is, instead of sending Mulan or whatever over there, I don't think they want to do it so they can release into the US too. They're just re-releasing like Avengers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was weird. I saw you sent me that. They're in China they're re-releasing old
the
Marvel
Harry Potter movies are being re-released by Universal, and they're re-releasing Avengers movies and things like that.
That's weird. I mean, honestly, at this point, since Mulan was basically designed for China, release it over there first.
Yeah, I don't think they are because they don't want to tick off America. Or if it doesn't do well, it's going to preemptively taint the American perception of Mulan, and then they're not going to go see it anyway.
I think it's already been tainted. I mean, a lot of people are upset about this movie because they cut characters out, they cut the music out. Apparently, it's not making anybody happy anyway. They spent a ton of money. It does
make everybody happy, honestly.
Just send it to China. Disney, you design the movie for China, right? Send it to China because you're gonna have to do something.
Yeah, put it in the theaters in China, and then bring it digital here or something for now. But I don't know what's going on in the theaters. I mean, that's if it's true that they're reopening. But supposedly Chinese theaters are reopening.
I saw pictures that they were reopening theaters, but they were making sure people were like 3 or 4 seats apart from each other. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to happen. And that's people too. When the theme parks open up over here, when the theaters open up over here, people don't seem to realize there might actually be less of a box office anyway because the theaters might limit the number of people that can be in the theater to distance everybody.
That's true.
So it might be that they can only get a third as many people into the movie theater as usual.
It might still make it more sense for these companies to release it on digital either before or at the same time because people could go see it that way. They might not be able to go to the movie theater. Your diehard theater people are going to go to the theater anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, because people go see a re-release in the theater even if they own it on DVD or whatever because they want to see it on the big screen.
Mm-hmm. Me personally, you're more like that. I'm totally fine just watch it at home. I'm not a person I am a homebody anyway. This is true. Kneon can vouch.
Yeah.
I'm not one to want to go out to the theaters very much as it is. If I could watch it at home, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, and that's like, why won't they buy the video on demand? Because Birds of Prey. I don't know how Birds of Prey did. I think it came out on video, but the price point's high because people are looking at they're like, wait, you want me to spend $40 to rent a movie when I can pay $15 for Netflix and watch all I want,
right?
And people are like, well then what, but they'll go out of their way to go to the theater. I'm like, yeah, because going to the theater's more of an event. It's a social thing. You go out,
it's like a date night or something.
Right, date night, or you go with friends, or you take the kids, or
you could do
whatever.
a lot more date night at home. I'm just saying.
Not if the kids are home.
No, not when the kids are home.
But I don't know. This is gonna be an interesting situation. Again, watch and see if Disney releases these movies on digital. That means they're really hard up for cash.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And David Harbour, I'm sorry. I like you and all, but your Hellboy movie was not good.
Yeah,
so
it might not be your fault.
Not your fault.
But it wasn't, and stop blaming the fans.
Stop blaming the fans. Not the fans' fault. So we're going to wrap this one up?
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.